I've recently moved house and I've been setting up my dream garage. So we quickly want to mention that if you are here for the Honda, JDM or engine building content, then fear not. The house move is over, the garage is nearly done, and the B20 VTEC engine build will continue very soon, so stick with me. Now, in this video, I bring to you my much anticipated car lift. Working on cars is something I love, but working on my knees, that's a different story. Rolling around on cold concrete, balancing cars on axle stands, it's uncomfortable, slow, and honestly, it was starting to put me off doing the work altogether. So comfort was the big reason I bought this. Being able to simply drive in, lift the car, and get straight to work is a complete game changer. No jacks, no stands, no messing around. Just quicker, easier, and far more enjoyable. And let's be honest, the looks matter too. I'm building my dream garage here, and a ramp was always part of that vision. For hobbyists like us, space is limited, so full 2-post or 4-post lifts are just not realistic. After a lot of research, I settled on a mid-rise scissor lift, specifically the LGX35 from Lift Giant. Even better, they're based in Redditch, just about an hour from me. So today I'll show you why this made perfect sense. It is cold and it is wet, but today is a great day. My Lift Giant LGX35 has just arrived, which you will have seen in the footage of the van appearing on my drive. I have been on tenterhooks waiting for this one. To be fair, the delivery was very quick. I ordered it only a week or two back. And the guy who delivered it was a right gent. It was a bit of a nightmare just getting it over this lip on the way into the garage, but it did not faze him. So thank you very much to the gentleman who has delivered it. You can see, first off, the packaging looks absolutely fantastic. It is a really sturdy box. There's no way that thing is getting damaged in transit. So I'm over the moon. I cannot wait to get this thing unpacked. Right, well, let's not babble on. Let's get this thing unpacked. Yeah, these peel over tabs, super easy to get off. So the top should lift off now. I'm not saying easily, but it should lift off. Ta-da! There we have it, and that looks very smart, I think. Okay, now this is a 16 amp, or rather, should I say, this requires a 16 amp feed. So I am going to have to put a new plug on the wall from the consumer unit. Superb. Oh, and this thing is on wheels. Look at that. Lovely. Look at that. So yeah, I can put it anywhere in the workshop I want, which for now is going to be here. Oh, exciting. Now for the difficult bit. You might want to recruit some friends here or get some lifting equipment, because this part of the ramp weighs about 500 or 600 kilos. And the best I could come up with at the time, because I was in a rush, I was desperate to get this thing out of the box and have a play with it. So I thought I'll use my jacks here to create a bit of a cantilever. As you can see, I'm struggling a little bit, but and I did initially break those pieces of wood. So then I had to set it all up again with 2 pieces of wood. But as you can see, it's held it just about. And then comes the second mistake here, is I find that the pallet won't slide under the Civic. The Civic is too low. So at this point I start sort of wiggling it around and just trying to slide it out just any way I can. And through a bit of jiggery pokery and a bit of messing around, I did eventually get it onto the floor. But yeah, important to note that to unbox one of these, you're going to need some strong friends or some lifting equipment. Now, you can't plug this thing straight into the wall. It's got a commando socket like this. Okay, so electricians, put me right if I'm wrong, but your consumer unit here in a normal household has a 13 amp breaker in it. And this ramp needs a 16 amp breaker. So I have my 16 amp breaker, right? And a friend of mine who is an electrician is going to be actually wiring this in for me. But right now, I'm just going to get the cable laid into the wall, and with any luck, I can get the skirting board off and I can come straight down here from where I want it, along the skirting board, and then up into the back of the consumer unit from there. So let's see. Now, unfortunately, there's not a gap between the bottom of the plasterboard and the floor, so I'm going to have to gouge out a channel for the wire to lay in, and then we can just push the skirting board back against the wall. And while he was here, I had him running this extra cable for something that you'll see in a future video. Do you reckon you've done it right?
Wow, such a 50-50 chance.
Obviously, I don't want to operate it. Yes, we've got lights. There you go. Job well done, mate. Nice one. So now we've got our 16 amp supply set up, it's time to link up the hydraulics. Now, inside the box here, nifty little catch there, there was an installation and operation manual, which I'm going to give a read now, and this umbilical line, which has got two electrical connectors, which I assume at this point are for the solenoids, the locking solenoids, and a single hydraulic line, which are going to go on here. We've got two cables here, which I shall find out where they go to after I've read the installation manual. Right, so now I've read the safety manual. It's pretty obvious where this goes. You've got one end with a 90-degree connector on it, right, and that's going to go onto, as I'm looking at this, the left side of the block there. Now, does it need any PTFE tape? No, it's got a tapered fitting like a brake line, so I'm gonna screw that on there. There's no torque setting in here, so I'll just advise you to not over tighten it and strip the threads, because you're gonna have a really bad day if that happens. Also, thread the line underneath the box. Right, and I think that's going to be 17 mil. Nope, 18. Nope, 19. You can always nip it up later, so better to not do it tight enough, and if it leaks you can always nip it up a little bit more. Pretty self-explanatory where these go now for the safety locks. These are... Okay, I'm going to put blue to blue and then red to brown. Obviously, that one joins onto there. Come on, mate. Oh, the pins are a little bit splayed, so I'm just going to have a mess with that to get that to line up. And we'll carefully push them together until they line up with the hole. There we go. It's pushed in now all the way, and it has an anti-rotation device on it, so you can't get it on the wrong way. But make sure your pins line up before you just force it together. So there you go. We now have hydraulic line and our two locks. So I'll just shove that back in there. Let's just give myself a little bit of space here. Rolls around on the floor quite easily on its wheels like that, which is really cool, isn't it? All looks clean. Nice taper on there, so again, no PTFE needed. Just going gonna get something to hold onto that block. There we are. Little nip onto that. Now, pretty self-explanatory how these go. Again, they have an anti-rotation device. You can't get them on the wrong way. Pins lined up and all the way in. And we'll just put this, tie this thread down here just to stop it coming apart. Okay, now to fill her up with some oil. I'm using ISO 32, but if you're in colder or warmer climates, you might need a different one just for whatever viscosity is right for your environment. I'm in the UK and I'm using ISO 32. Little tip here that an old boy taught me ages ago is fill from the top, don't spill a drop, is what he said. And what he meant was you put the spout at the top at the highest part of the bottle and it'll allow the air in. If you pour it traditionally, like most people do like that, it will just glug, 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 glug. So if you put the spout at the top and you go steady and you let the air in as the oil comes out, you'll get a nice neat pour. Capacity here is 4 litres. So the handbook says. That's about 3.5. Obviously the system's going to have to bleed through and all the air will come out, but once we've operated this, we'll dip the stick and we'll set the level after it's all bled up. Just as well I didn't put any more in because this has brimmed it. Right, okay, we're going to power it up for the first time, so let's hope I haven't cocked this up. So we have a 16 amp supply, master switch to on, we've got power. So I believe you hold the locks. I can't hear them operating. Let's see. Okay, right, something is starting to happen. The hydraulic oil is now bleeding all the way through. Right, and that has hit maximum. So now if we hold the button for the locks, that should hold the locks off. Yeah, and now we can go down. But I suspect with no weight on it, this is going to take forever. Oh, that beeping's not annoying at all, is it? Worth noting at this point, a quick check of the unions, the hydraulic lines onto the rams here. I can see that they're not dripping or anything. I can see the connection I've made here is still dry, and the connection onto the side of the block there is still dry. So, fingers crossed, no hydraulic leaks. Okay, we're all the way down. Again, like I said, I'm just going to cycle it up and down twice, just to make sure all of the air is out of the hydraulic system.
Skip to the end.
Right then, now we've operated it up and down 3 times to make sure the hydraulic system is completely bled. The manual says we've got to grease these blocks. Now this bar slides up and down here on these blocks, 2 upper, 2 lower. So, right, I'm going to clean these surfaces, get a bit of grease on there. Okay, now it doesn't specify what grease, so I've got this lithium EP2. I mean, it's essentially a multi-purpose grease. I suspect if you were to use like CV joint grease or something like that, it's going to be absolutely fine. And I'm pretty sure my multi-purpose grease here is going to be fine as well. Now to use it, I've got to put it into the position that I want it and take the wheels off before I lift a car on it. That's very important. So let's get it into position. So now we've moved it into its final resting place. For now, we'll take off the wheels. Don't try and lift a car on it with the wheels still on, it will just bend them. Oh, right, yeah, it's Christmas Eve, by the way. Merry Christmas, everyone. Okay, so we're going up for the final time now to take these wheels off, and I'm going to fit the ramps on whilst it's up. Okay, so with it in the air, the wheels will now come off. Right then, you're going to need your circlip pliers to take out this pin. Oh, looks like this is going to need a little bit of gentle persuasion. Okay, maybe a little more than gentle. Right, just going to give that a clean up so it doesn't get stuck in there again. Just a little bit of grease as well. Won't hurt, will it? Right, pretty obvious what to do here. Just going to line up your holes and slide your pin in. Yeah, just wants some gentle persuasion to get through there. There we are. Pop this circlip back on. Okay, now it locks in this upper position, or you could pull this and let it droop. There we are. That's nice. Very nice. Rinse and repeat for the other three. Right then, we are finally ready to lift a car. Now here's an interesting problem. The car's actually too low for the ramp. I appear to be sort of beached on it now. Hello dear. It's beached.
No way.
Yeah, so slight issue here. I believe the ramp is 110 millimeters off the ground. And I'm surprised actually that this Civic is less than 110 millimeters off the ground. Perhaps without me in it. Let's see if it rolls at all. No, it doesn't. So, right. I guess we're going to have some sort of special plan for the Civic. I mean, it drove on just about. It's obviously scraping, but I guess I'll just use a pair of jacks now to get the rubber blocks under it. And I guess cars with a normal ride height are just going to go on and off this, no problem. There is also the option, of course, that I could cut out a bit of this floor and I could sink the ramp down into the floor a little bit. But that would obviously mean then that the ramp has to stay in that one place forever. It won't be a mobile ramp then, so got to weigh up the pros and cons of that. Anyway, let's get this in the air. Right, there was a little bit of a fiddle getting it onto the ramp, but not too hard. So I guess now we'll do a little time test up and down, and we'll round up this video. Well, how about that? That is absolutely brilliant. This is a revolution for me. Obviously, we've been over all the reasons of why I wanted this and why I've gone to the expense and why I chose this over the other many different types. But now, look at this. This is an entirely new perspective for me. Having this, bearing in mind I've had this Civic for 16 odd years, and to now be working on it at waist height, it's just absolutely brilliant. I'm just absolutely over the moon here, and doesn't it just look great as well? And the dream garage is now really becoming a dream. So if, like me, you were looking for a ramp, or you are looking for a ramp, likelihood is you are looking for a ramp, and you've looked at all the different types, I guess what you have to do really is get what's right for your space and what's right for you. For me, in this space, it was a mid-rise scissor lift, and I chose the Lift Giant LGX35, and you can see, can't you, it's got all the safety features, it's got the it's got the hassle-free hydraulic features, no air, no pneumatics needed for the airlocks because that's all electric. All in all, a very neat little package that I think looks cool as well, and I don't feel that I've wasted a penny on this. I'm absolutely over the moon. Now, I don't normally do review videos. My channel is all about Honda, JDM, and I'm building a B20 VTEC for this Honda at the moment. So even though you came here for a review video, perhaps you might subscribe to the channel and stick around for some cool Honda content. All right, anyway, thank you very much for watching. See you on the beach.